These 20-car features are marketed as premium upgrades, but they're quietly destroying your car's reliability faster than you realize. After analyzing hundreds of service records and mechanic reports, the pattern is clear. These aren't improvements, they're expensive problems waiting to happen. From systems that confuse drivers during emergencies to features already being removed from 2025 models due to failures, some of these will shock you. If you want to avoid $1,000 repair bills and unexpected breakdowns, don't skip this. Let's dive in. Feature number 20. Start-stop systems. Engine start-stop might sound environmentally friendly, but it's punishing your car every single cycle. Every red light becomes a mini stress test for your starter, battery, and oil system. Here's what's really happening. Your engine shuts off, oil pressure drops to zero. Then you're asking everything to fire back up instantly when the light changes. That's metal-on-metal contact happening dozens of times per day. Consumer reports found these systems burn through batteries 40% faster. And we're not talking about regular batteries. Many require expensive AGM or EFB batteries that cost $200 to $300 to replace. The delay when accelerating isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. That hesitation pulling into traffic or making quick turns creates real safety risks. Here's the truth. This feature wasn't designed to save you money. It was built to help manufacturers meet emissions regulations on paper, not in your real-world driving. Turn it off every time you start your car, or better yet, have it disabled permanently by your mechanic. Your wallet and your engine will thank you. But start-stop is just the beginning. The next feature replaces simple, reliable controls with expensive digital nightmares. Feature number 19. Touchscreen everything. Remember when adjusting the volume meant turning a knob? Now everything from climate control to navigation is buried behind touchscreen menus that lag, freeze, and fail. I've seen drivers accidentally blast the air conditioning while trying to zoom a map, or lose their backup camera right when parking. When these screens fail, and they will, you don't just lose your music, you lose climate control, sometimes even your speedometer. The repair costs are brutal. A failed touchscreen runs $1,200 to $2,000 to replace, assuming parts are even available. Many screens become obsolete within 5 to 7 years, leaving you with expensive paperweights. Physical buttons and knobs worked perfectly for decades. They gave tactile feedback, worked in all weather, and rarely failed. This isn't innovation, it's planned obsolescence disguised as progress. The safest cars keep critical functions on physical controls. If you're shopping for a new car, test every touchscreen function and ask yourself, what happens when this breaks? Speaking of things that break when you need them most, let's talk about what automakers removed from your trunk. Feature number 18. Tire repair kits instead of spare tires. Pop your trunk and instead of a real spare tire, you'll find a can of sealant and a tiny compressor. Automakers claim it saves weight and improves fuel economy, but it's really just cost-cutting. That kit is useless for blown sidewalls, large punctures, or any real tire damage. What used to be a 10-minute tire change becomes a 3-hour wait for roadside assistance. Worse, that sealant ruins your tire pressure sensors and makes the tire permanently unrepairable. Now you're buying a new tire and paying for a tow truck. I've seen families stranded on highways because their mobility kit couldn't handle a simple nail puncture. Meanwhile, the sealant leaked everywhere, creating a toxic mess in their trunk. Real spare tires work every time, in any weather, with any type of damage. They've saved countless drivers for over a century. Don't let marketing convince you that a spray can is an upgrade. If possible, buy the spare tire as an option, or keep a full-size spare in your garage for emergencies. If removing your spare tire wasn't bad enough, wait until you see what they did to engine compartments. Feature number 17. Overcrowded engine bays. Modern engine compartments are so cramped, changing a headlight bulb requires removing the entire bumper. What used to be simple maintenance now requires specialty tools and hours of labor. Manufacturers pack sensors, wiring, and components into spaces that barely exist. Everything overlaps everything else, creating a maintenance nightmare that drives up repair costs exponentially. A simple belt replacement might require removing the engine cover, airbox, and multiple hoses. What was once a 30-minute job now takes 3 hours, and you're paying for every minute. All that tight packaging also traps heat, causing components to fail faster. Sensors baked by exhaust heat, wiring melted by turbochargers, and plastic parts warped beyond recognition. For DIY enthusiasts, it's devastating. Even checking fluid levels requires an engineering degree. Basic maintenance becomes so complex that people skip it entirely, leading to major failures. This cramped design looks sleek from the outside, but under the hood, it's an expensive disaster waiting to happen. Speaking of disasters, let's talk about steering wheels that confuse more than they help. Feature number 16. Overcomplicated steering wheel controls. Steering wheels used to have a horn in the center and maybe cruise control buttons. Now they look like game controllers with dozens of buttons, scroll wheels, and touchpads crammed into tiny spaces. The layouts make no sense. Volume goes side to side on some cars, up and down on others. Track changes might be on the left or right, depending on what mood the designer was in. Some buttons sit right where your thumbs naturally rest, so you're constantly triggering functions accidentally. Others require finger gymnastics just to skip a song, forcing your eyes off the road. These systems age poorly too. Buttons get sticky, scroll wheels stop scrolling, and touchpads become unresponsive. When they fail, you lose control of basic functions while driving. The worst part? They're supposed to improve safety by keeping your hands on the wheel, but fumbling with 20 different buttons is far more distracting than reaching for a simple radio knob. Less is more when it comes to steering wheel controls. Find a car with intuitive, well-spaced buttons, or stick with traditional dashboard controls. If steering wheel chaos wasn't enough, this next feature turns your car key into a $400 anxiety attack. Feature number 15. Keyless entry and push-button start. Keyless entry sounds convenient until you're digging through your bag looking for a $400 fob that controls your entire car. Traditional keys never had this problem. They stayed on your keychain where they belonged. These fobs are fragile, expensive to replace, and prone to signal interference. Drop it, crack it, or let the battery die, and you're stranded. Some require dealer programming that can take days. Then there's the theft risk. Relay attacks and key cloning happen daily. Thieves can steal your car without breaking anything, using cheap devices to amplify your fob's signal from inside your house. The push-button start creates new problems too. Some systems let you drive away without the key, only to shut off the engine when you stop. Others stay running in parking garages, creating carbon monoxide risks. Traditional keys worked flawlessly for a century. They were cheap, reliable, and nearly impossible to hack. This isn't an upgrade. It's a solution to a problem that didn't exist. Keep a backup key, store your fob in a signal blocking pouch, and consider older cars with traditional keys for maximum reliability. But if losing your key seems bad, wait until you see what happens when gear shifters get smart. Feature number 14. Electronic gear shifters. Traditional shifters gave you direct mechanical connection and instant feedback. These new button, dial, and toggle shifters add confusion when split-second decisions matter most. Take emergency situations. You need reverse immediately, but instead of a simple lever pull, you're hunting for the right button or figuring out which way to twist a dial. That hesitation can mean the difference between avoiding an accident and causing one. Chevrolet's dial shifter has become legendary for all the wrong reasons. Drivers consistently report it's unintuitive, slow, and adds stress during parking or emergency maneuvers. These electronic systems rely heavily on sensors and computers. When they fail, you're stuck in park or, worse, stuck in drive. Traditional shifters kept working even if everything else failed. The muscle memory issue is real too. Your hand naturally wants to rest on a shifter, but buttons and dials offer no tactile reference point. You lose that instinctive connection between driver and machine. Sure, they free up console space, but at what cost? You're trading decades of proven ergonomics for flashy electronics that complicate the most basic driving function. If electronic shifters seem confusing, turbocharged engines will blow your mind and your budget. Feature number 13. Turbocharged engines. Turbo engines promise more power from smaller displacement, but they deliver that power with significantly more complexity, heat, and failure points. These engines run incredibly hot. That extra boost pushes more pressure through every component: gaskets, seals, pistons, cooling systems. When one weak link fails, it often takes the entire engine with it. The maintenance requirements are brutal. Synthetic oil changes every 5,000 miles max. Premium fuel recommended. And cooling system maintenance becomes critical. Skip any of this, and you're looking at catastrophic failure. Some turbos are reliable. Toyota's 2.4-liter, Honda's K20C, and select BMW units. But these are exceptions in a sea of problematic designs. Ford's EcoBoost, GM's smaller turbos, and most budget turbocharged engines have concerning failure rates. Naturally aspirated engines are simpler, more reliable, and built to last. They don't need expensive oil, don't stress cooling systems, and rarely fail catastrophically. Turbos might feel fast now, but they often sacrifice long-term durability for short-term performance, leaving you with expensive repairs when the novelty wears off. And speaking of sacrificing durability, this next feature literally shuts down part of your engine while driving. Feature number 12, cylinder deactivation. Cylinder deactivation promises fuel savings by shutting down cylinders during light load conditions. In reality, it creates vibration, wear patterns, and mechanical failures that far outweigh any gas savings. GM's active fuel management is notorious for lifter failures. The 5.3-liter and 6.2-liter V8 engines often need complete engine rebuilds before 80,000 miles due to AFM-related problems. That's $5,000 to $8,000 in repairs to save maybe $200 per year in fuel. Ram's multi-displacement system in the 5.7-liter Hemi has similar issues. The lifters fail, the cam lobes wear unevenly, and eventually the whole valve train needs replacement. These systems create uneven wear patterns because some cylinders work while others sit idle, then suddenly spring back to life. This constant on-off cycling stresses components in ways they were never designed to handle. The fuel savings are minimal, maybe 5 to 10% in ideal conditions, but the repair cost can exceed the entire fuel savings over the life of the vehicle. A good engine should run smoothly and consistently, not randomly decide which cylinders to use. This technology creates more problems than it solves. If cylinder deactivation wasn't bad enough, direct injection will literally gum up your engine. Feature number 11, direct injection without port injection. Direct injection sounds efficient, but cutting out traditional port injection eliminates the natural cleaning action that keeps intake valves clean. The result is thick carbon buildup that chokes your engine over time. Without fuel washing over the intake valves, carbon deposits accumulate from crankcase vapors and exhaust gases. This buildup restricts airflow, causes rough idle, misfires, and eventually destroys performance. Fuel system cleaners can't fix this because the problem isn't in the fuel lines. It's baked onto the valves themselves. The only solution is walnut blasting, an expensive process where crushed walnut shells are literally shot into the engine to scrape away the carbon. This service costs $400 to $800 every 60,000 to 80,000 miles. Some engines need it even sooner. BMW, Audi, and Volkswagen direct injection engines are particularly prone to this problem. Manufacturers who use both port and direct injection, like Toyota in some applications, avoid this issue by maintaining the valve cleaning action. Pure direct injection might be more efficient on paper, but the maintenance costs destroy any savings. If carbon buildup sounds messy, electronic parking brakes will leave you truly stuck. Feature number 10, electronic parking brakes. Traditional handbrakes were simple, reliable, and always worked. Electronic parking brakes replace that simplicity with motors, sensors, and computers that fail in creative ways. When these systems malfunction, they either won't engage, leaving you rolling down hills, or won't release, leaving you stranded. I've seen cars locked in parking lots because the electronic brake seized, requiring expensive towing and repairs. Cold weather makes it worse. The motors freeze, the sensors get confused by ice, and the system stops working entirely. Traditional handbrakes worked in any weather conditions. Repairs are expensive because you need special diagnostic tools just to service the rear brakes. Many shops avoid working on them, and when they do, the labor costs double because of the complexity. If your battery dies, some systems won't release at all. Others drain your battery trying to hold the brake, creating a vicious cycle of electrical problems. You lose the ability to modulate brake pressure manually too. Sometimes you need just a light brake for a slight incline, but these systems are all or nothing. Traditional handbrakes gave you direct control and worked for decades without failure. This is technology solving a problem that didn't exist. Speaking of problems that didn't exist, dual-clutch transmissions will make you miss your old automatic. Feature number 9. Dual-clutch transmissions. Dual-clutch transmissions promise race car performance with automatic convenience, but deliver jerky, hesitant driving that makes everyday commuting miserable. In stop-and-go traffic, they're awful. The system constantly hunts between gears, creating lurching and hesitation that makes smooth driving impossible. Parking becomes an exercise in frustration as the transmission fights every input. Ford's PowerShift DCT has such a terrible reputation that it sparked class action lawsuits. Hyundai and Kia's units aren't much better, with shuddering, slipping, and premature failure becoming common problems. When these transmissions fail, and many do before 100,000 miles, repairs are extremely expensive. The complexity requires specialized knowledge, and replacement costs range from $3,000 to $5,000. Performance enthusiasts might tolerate the quirks for track days, but regular drivers just want smooth, reliable transportation. These transmissions constantly remind you they exist, usually at the worst possible moments. A good transmission should be invisible. You shouldn't have to adapt your driving style to accommodate its quirks, yet that's exactly what DCTs demand. Traditional automatics or manual transmissions offer better reliability and lower maintenance costs for most drivers. If dual-clutch transmissions are rough, CVTs will make you question automatic transmissions entirely. Feature number 8. Continuously Variable Transmissions, CVT. CVTs promise smooth, efficient power delivery, but have earned a reputation for premature failure, especially in Nissan vehicles. Instead of traditional gears, they use belts and pulleys that wear out, slip, and overheat. Nissan's Jatco CVTs are particularly problematic, turning reliable models into repair nightmares. The transmissions fail around 60,000 to 80,000 miles, with symptoms like slipping, shuddering, and complete power loss. It's not just Nissan. Older CVTs from Subaru, Honda, and Mitsubishi face similar issues: jerky operation, overheating, and expensive repairs that often exceed the car's value. When CVTs fail, they fail catastrophically. There's no gradual decline. One day they work, the next day you're calling a tow truck. Replacement costs range from $3,000 to $4,500. To be fair, newer CVTs from Toyota and Honda have improved significantly, but consumer trust remains damaged from years of problematic designs. Hybrid eCVTs are different technology and generally reliable, but traditional belt-driven CVTs in gas-only vehicles remain a gamble. Traditional automatics with proven track records offer better long-term reliability and lower repair costs for most buyers. Now let's talk about suspension systems that will deflate your budget as quickly as they deflate themselves. Feature number 7. Air suspension systems. Air suspension replaces reliable coil springs with rubber bladders and compressors that create a smooth ride until they inevitably fail. And when they fail expensively. A single punctured airbag can cost $500 to $800 to replace, not including the labor to install it. But failures rarely happen in isolation. When one component fails, others quickly follow, creating repair bills that can exceed $3,000. The compressors work overtime trying to maintain pressure in leaking systems, burning themselves out in the process. Replacing a failed compressor adds another $800 to $1,200 to your repair bill. Height sensors, valves, and control modules all have finite lifespans and fail unpredictably. Each component adds complexity and potential failure points to what was once a simple, reliable suspension system. You'll know it's failing when you hear hissing, groaning, or see your car sagging overnight. Some systems enter limp mode and lock at one height, making driving uncomfortable or dangerous. Self-leveling and adaptive systems add even more complexity and failure points. The technology is impressive until it stops working, and you're facing repair bills that exceed many cars' values. Traditional coil springs and shocks work reliably for 200,000 plus miles and cost a fraction to maintain. Speaking of features that cost more than they help, driver assistance systems will fight you for control. Feature number 6. Overly aggressive driver assist systems. Lane keeping assist and similar systems promise safety, but often create dangerous situations by overriding driver inputs at critical moments. The technology isn't sophisticated enough to understand real-world driving scenarios. These systems misread construction zones, faded lane markings, and normal driving situations, suddenly jerking the steering wheel when you're trying to avoid obstacles or change lanes safely. What should enhance safety instead adds stress and unpredictability. You spend more time fighting the car than focusing on actual driving hazards. It's like having a paranoid co-pilot who panics at shadows. When the sensors get dirty, wet, or damaged, the systems either stop working entirely or provide false warnings that you learn to ignore, defeating the entire purpose. Repairs and recalibration are expensive too. After a windshield replacement or minor collision, you might pay $300 to $600 just to recalibrate the cameras and sensors. The most experienced drivers already know how to stay in their lanes and avoid obstacles. These systems add complexity without meaningful safety benefits, while reducing driver skill through overdependence. Until fully autonomous driving becomes reality, these systems create more problems than they solve for attentive drivers. If fighting your car for control wasn't enough, this next feature turns your cabin into a greenhouse. Feature number 5. Panoramic glass roofs. Fixed glass roofs look impressive in showrooms, but create comfort and safety problems in real-world use. Unlike traditional sunroofs, they don't open, vent, or provide any functionality beyond aesthetics. On sunny days, they turn your cabin into a greenhouse. Even with sunshades, the radiant heat is overwhelming. Your air conditioning works overtime trying to compensate, reducing fuel economy and stressing the cooling system. The structural implications are concerning too. In rollover accidents, that massive sheet of glass becomes a dangerous weak point. Reinforced or not, broken glass creates hazards that solid metal roofs don't. When they crack or leak, which happens frequently, repairs are extremely expensive. The glass must be specially ordered, and installation requires removing interior panels and headliner components. They also add significant weight high in the vehicle, affecting handling and fuel economy. The structural changes needed to accommodate them often reduce cargo space and interior storage. Interior fading and UV damage accelerate under these large glass panels, wearing out seats, dashboards, and trim pieces much faster than traditional roofs. If you want fresh air and openness, a traditional sunroof or convertible provides actual functionality instead of just looks. Speaking of looks over function, ambient lighting will turn your car into a rolling nightclub. Feature number 4. Excessive ambient lighting. Ambient lighting started as subtle accent lighting, but has evolved into disco-level displays that distract more than they help. Modern systems flash, pulse, and change colors based on music or drive modes. At night, these lights destroy your natural night vision and create dangerous distractions. Your eyes constantly adjust to the changing light levels instead of focusing on the road ahead. Some drivers report feeling drowsy or disoriented from the constant light changes, while others develop headaches during long drives. What's supposed to create ambiance instead creates fatigue. The systems add dozens of LED strips, controllers, and wiring throughout the cabin. When components fail, and they will, you're looking at expensive repairs for purely cosmetic features. Burned-out LEDs, failed controllers, and buzzing transformers all create annoying problems that don't affect your ability to drive but cost hundreds to fix. These systems also drain battery power continuously, potentially contributing to dead battery situations, especially in vehicles that sit unused for extended periods. Simple, functional interior lighting works perfectly and lasts for decades. Save the light show for your living room, not your daily driver. If interior light shows weren't distracting enough, Your car might start parking itself soon. Feature number 3, automatic parking assist. We've been parking cars successfully for over a century without computer assistance. Now suddenly, your car wants to do it for you, creating dependency while adding expensive complexity. These systems work slowly and often require multiple attempts to park in spaces where experienced drivers would succeed in one motion. They tie up traffic while your car cautiously inches back and forth. More concerning is the skill atrophy. The more your car thinks for you, the less capable you become at basic driving tasks. Parking is fundamental. Lose that skill and you're dependent on technology that can fail. When sensors get dirty, damaged, or confused by weather conditions, the system stops working entirely. Now you're stuck needing to park a car when your skills have deteriorated from lack of practice. The liability questions are murky too. If the system damages your car or another vehicle during automated parking, who's responsible? The manufacturer, the software, or you? Insurance companies are still figuring out how to handle automated parking accidents, potentially leaving you with higher premiums or denied claims. Parking is a basic driving skill that connects you with your vehicle's dimensions and capabilities. Maintain those skills rather than outsourcing them to systems that will eventually fail. If automatic parking seems problematic, electronic throttle control will make you miss direct mechanical connections. Feature number 2, electronic throttle control. Traditional throttle cables provided direct, immediate connection between your foot and the engine. Electronic throttle control replaces that mechanical certainty with computer-mediated guesswork that adds delay and unpredictability. When you press the accelerator, your input goes through software filters that might hesitate, misinterpret, or delay your commands. Some cars feel sluggish off the line. Others surge unpredictably when you're trying to make precise speed adjustments. The throttle position sensors inevitably fail, and when they do, you're looking at reduced power, rough idle, or complete engine shutdown. The diagnostic process is complex, and repairs often require reprogramming that costs hundreds beyond the parts. Drive-by-wire systems can enter limp mode during sensor failures, limiting power to dangerously low levels while you're trying to merge or climb hills. This creates safety risks that mechanical throttles never had. What used to be a simple cable replacement now requires computer diagnostics, sensor calibration, and sometimes entire throttle body replacement. Costs have increased dramatically while reliability has decreased. Electronic throttle control takes away your direct connection to the engine, replacing mechanical precision with digital approximation. It's not better, it's just more complicated. And finally, the most frustrating feature that blinds other drivers while confusing you. Feature number 1, automatic high beams. Automatic high beams promise to manage your lighting for you, but they consistently fail to read situations correctly, creating dangerous conditions for everyone on the road. The sensors can't distinguish between oncoming traffic, following traffic, and reflective signs. They blind other drivers while you wonder why people keep flashing their lights at you. Rain, fog, dirty windshields, and even bright streetlights confuse these systems. They turn high beams on in well-lit areas or leave them off when you actually need them most. When the sensor fails, and windshield-mounted sensors are fragile, you lose automatic function entirely. Replacement and recalibration costs $400 to $600, often required after simple windshield replacements. The delay between detection and response creates problems too. High beams might stay on several seconds after detecting oncoming traffic, plenty of time to blind other drivers and cause accidents. Manual high beam control gave you instant, reliable response based on your assessment of road conditions. You could anticipate situations and adjust lighting before problems occurred. This system adds delay, reduces your control, and creates liability when it malfunctions. Your visibility should be under your direct control, not dependent on sensors that guess wrong. You've just discovered 20 features that seem impressive, but secretly damage your car's reliability and your driving experience. These aren't improvements. They're expensive complications that increase repair costs while reducing your control. The most reliable cars keep things simple. Mechanical connections where possible, proven technology over flashy gimmicks, and driver control over computer automation. When shopping for your next vehicle, test every electronic system and ask yourself, what happens when this breaks? How much will it cost to fix? And do I actually need this feature? Sometimes the old way really is the better way. Your wallet and your peace of mind will thank you for choosing simplicity over complexity. If this video helped you avoid expensive features, hit subscribe for more car buying advice that saves you money. What feature surprised you most? Let me know in the comments below.